Hey guys, so before we deep dive into Zoom and what you can use Zoom for, let's just go over a very basic question. What is Zoom and what can you use it for? So basically Zoom is a tool or an app for online meetings and collaboration. You can use Zoom for a ton of things when you're working with people who are in different locations. Now, it doesn't mean that everyone has to be working remotely for them to be able to use Zoom. You could have some people at an office and some other people working from home or the library or wherever. Zoom basically allows you to connect all of those different people in all of those different locations via video conferencing or audio only phone calls. But Zoom is a lot more powerful than you just seeing other people on your phone or on your computer or on your tablet like you would if you were using FaceTime. Zoom has been designed for the workplace and for people to collaborate on projects and we're working together. It allows for advanced functionality such as screen sharing, chatting, changing your background, and a lot more. Like for example, you can actually express your emotions when people are talking by giving a clap or stuff like that. And I'll show a lot of those other really cool tips and tricks when we're actually going through setting up and hosting Zoom meetings, or when I walk you through how you can attend Zoom meetings as well. Now, the cool thing about Zoom is that it has been designed with virtual teams in mind. So it allows for remote collaboration and for people being able to connect with each other even when they're not physically in the same room. And that's why Zoom is so popular and so widely used by different businesses across the world. I dare say that Zoom right now is probably the most widely used and popular video conferencing tool out there. So you learning how to use Zoom will definitely come in handy when you're working for different businesses, applying for jobs, or things like that. You could even be potentially interviewed via Zoom instead of Skype or FaceTime. Now, a lot of businesses have started to embrace Zoom, and I see more and more people all over the world using Zoom in the business and to run their projects or to work collaboratively with their different teams who might be spread across different locations, different campuses, or different offices. Now, Zoom is quite powerful, but it's also quite flexible and easy to use. And you don't have to be a techie or an expert in any of this technology or any of this type of stuff. Like anyone can really use it because it's just very simple and easy to use. You don't even have to have a computer or a laptop or a tablet. You could connect to a Zoom meeting just by using your home phone or your mobile phone. That's one of the advantages of Zoom, and that's one of the reasons why it has continued to grow exponentially worldwide, because it is very simple and easy to use. And it doesn't matter if you own a Windows device or a Mac, or if you're on an Android device or an Apple device or whatever brand you want to think or you use, it doesn't really matter at all. Zoom caters for all of those different scenarios and allows anyone, regardless of which device they're using, to connect to a Zoom meeting. And this is super important and highly helpful when you're working with people that are remotely. Specifically, there are a lot of scenarios in which you might want to, work on a project or share information, and it might be a lot easier and faster to do it via Zoom. Or you might have some people in your team working remotely, they might be sick, or you might have people in your company that are just spread across different countries, different regions, different time zones, etc. And Zoom allows you to manage and do all of these. It also has some really cool integration and things with Outlook, for example, or other tools like that allow you to, just add a calendar invite in Zoom in your calendar using the Zoom details to connect to a Zoom meeting. And that's pretty cool. And we'll see later in the course that every time you set up a meeting in Zoom, you automatically get details generated for you, which you can just send to people in an email. And it's already set up and easy for you to use. It's just a template email where you get the link or the numbers that people can dial in if they're dialing in to your Zoom meeting. But they can, like I said before, they can also just use the link and connect from their computer, their mobile device, their tablet, or their smartphone. It doesn't really matter what they're using. Zoom allows for all of those different scenarios. And you can have different people connecting to your call. Like there's really, depending on the plan that you are, there might be constraints, of course, in the number of participants that can join a Zoom meeting, but we'll go through those details later in the course when we're looking at the different options that Zoom offers. But keep in mind that Zoom does have a free plan as well, meaning that anyone, anywhere in the world can start using Zoom for free today, right now. And I hope that as part of this course, you give it a go, you explore it, and you start using it soon. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Bye. Hey, guys. So once you've actually signed into Zoom, you're going to get to this page, which, like I said before, is basically where all the magic happens when you're setting up your meetings and managing your meetings in Zoom. All right. So this is basically your account in Zoom. This is where you manage everything in Zoom. Okay. So before we start setting up meetings and going through all of that, I just wanted to give you a very quick tour and just remind you that there's different menus on this page, right? So you have a left-hand side menu here with some information about personal, admin, and also some support and help material right here on the left-hand side at the bottom. So make sure you actually make the best and you actually attend this live training, watch the video tutorials, and read up on the knowledge base. All of this information is going to help you as you're getting used to and you're getting familiar with Zoom. But of course, you're also watching this video and you've enrolled in this course. So by the end of this course, you will for sure, get the gist of it and be able to host your own meetings and attend meetings. But again, if you wanted to watch a little bit more detail directly from Zoom itself as a company, this is their official training, support, and help material right here. All right. And beyond that, they also have, of course, still their website menu here on the top left-hand side corner, which you can access or just click here and it'll take you to the Zoom website, etc. They also have here on the top right-hand side corner some information. Again, I'm seeing the Australian number because I'm here in Australia, but this would vary depending on your location. You can request a demo if you're a company. There's resources here, similar to what you have here on the bottom left-hand side corner. Here on the top right-hand side corner, you have similar information, FAQs, live training, webinars, etc. And there's also a support button where you can access support from Zoom directly. Okay. And then there's here a sub menu. Notice this sub menu here also on the top right hand side corner. Schedule a meeting, join a meeting, host a meeting, and then your avatar. If you clicked on your avatar, you're just going to see your information that you're on the basic plan and the sign out option. And don't forget, there's also, if you scroll down, you might notice that you also have at the bottom here the menu of the page of the Zoom website, the Zoom page. Again, more information about Zoom if you needed it. Here is the currency that I'm seeing stuff in Australian dollars because I'm here in Australia, but this would automatically change for you depending on your location. And of course, there's also a help kind of like chat functionality here that you can also click and get some assistance on if you needed help. And that's basically a very quick tour of the different things you're going to find when you sign into your account. And here, of course, you can find your email address, your personal Zoom ID, and your personal Zoom link, which you can use to set up meetings. It's showing you here on your profile that you're on the basic plan, which is the free version of Zoom. Just remember that Zoom on the free version, basically the main constraint it has is that meetings end up, after 40 minutes. But again, like I said before, there's nothing stopping you from setting up another meeting right after that one, or just starting another one right after that one. And most people would probably be fine with that. But of course, if you're on a business, you're probably on a paid version, which means you won't have that constraint and you won't have to worry about that meeting automatically disconnecting after 40 minutes. Okay. So it also has a constraint on capacity. This is because we're on the free version. It means you can't have more than 100 people connecting at the same time to a particular Zoom meeting. But if you're on the free version, more likely than not, you'll never exceed that capacity. And even if you're on the business paid version, I don't it's not very often that you see people having more than 100 people meeting. Generally, when you're doing business meetings, you have, 5, 8, maybe 10, sometimes 15 or 20, but even that's pushing it. Most of the time, people are working with small teams in businesses, and that doesn't mean that the business is necessarily small. You could have a business of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of employees. It just means that most businesses manage their projects or the things they're working on in smaller teams. So it is unlikely that even if you're on the free version, you're going to hit that cap. But if you did, well, you can just upgrade, and it's not that expensive anyway, like we saw before. And here at language, as you can see, there's edit buttons here on the right-hand side for all of these, meaning you could change your name, you could change your avatar. If I click here on change, it'll just allow me to upload a picture here. And again, it's showing that I'm here in the Sydney time zone because I'm actually here in Sydney, Australia. But this would automatically put your local time zone. And again, you can change that by clicking on the edit button if you needed to. You can also connect to calendar and contact service. So integration with things like Google, Outlook, or Exchange, and sync your calendars here directly with Zoom if you need it. And that's something that, can definitely be helpful. And sign-in password, host key, etc. All right. So I'm not going to go through all of this in detail. We just saw probably the key things, and we'll go through the different items in the menu and different things later on. But I just wanted to, I guess, give you a very quick overview of what you see in this Zoom account when you sign in, and where are the menus and where they're located on the left, on the top right-hand side corner, and at the bottom as well. And basically what each of them relates to, and where you can find support and help information and, knowledge base articles, it's video tutorials and live training as well. And again, you can just sign out if you were going to sign out by just clicking on your avatar and then sign out. Remember that it shows you your name, your email address, and the type of plan or type of subscription that you have. In this case, I'm on the basic one, so I'm using a free version. But like I said before, and like we saw before, if I go here to plans and pricing, and I'm just going to do that just really quickly to show you and remind you of what we saw before. The free version, it actually has a ton of stuff, right? Like if we open this up, it has a ton of functionality. So even if you were on a free version, you'd probably still get a lot out of Zoom, all right? And this is one of the reasons, of course, why Zoom has grown so much over the years, okay? So I'm just gonna go back to my account here, my profile, and this is where we were before, right? Before we went to just seeing quickly the plans and pricing again. All right, guys, so I'll leave you with this in this part of the course, just a general overview of your account in Zoom, and we'll get to scheduling a meeting in a moment, and then the fun really starts. All right, guys, see you on the next one. Cheers, bye. Hey, guys. So the first step in getting started with Zoom is going to the Zoom website, and you do that by going to zoom.us on your browser. So just open your browser, whatever it is that you're using, whether it's Safari, Chrome, Edge, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Brave, whatever it is, Opera, whatever browser you're using, just open the browser and just go to zoom.us. That's right, zoom.us. That's all you have to do. Alternatively, of course, you can just go to google.com and then just search for Zoom, and then it'll take you to the website as well. All right. So this is the Zoom website, and it's just a very basic website which includes information about Zoom, what you can use it for, and just some general advantages and what it offers versus other products and services. So consistent experience, meetings, video webinars, conference rooms, phone system, business, instant messaging, right? So these are basically the key things that Zoom has to offer. And Zoom as a company, they do offer different products and services, which you can see here under solutions at the top left-hand side corner. So you can see here products, meetings and chat, rooms and workspaces, phone system, video webinars, app marketplace, and then they have a bunch of other stuff as well. But in this course, we're mainly going to focus on what the vast majority of people use Zoom for, and that is for video conferencing. So for meeting with colleagues or friends remotely who might be in different locations, or some might be at the office and others might be in different locations, or you might be working with a team that is partly in your country and partly spread across other countries or across other continents and regions. And this is where Zoom becomes really powerful because it is very easy and intuitive to use, super end user friendly, and you don't even have to be a techie to use it or download special stuff or anything like that. You can even use it just using your mobile phone and just dialing into a dial-in number. And we'll talk a little bit about that later when we get into the specifics of Zoom. But I just wanted to give you a very quick overview of the Zoom website and how to get started. So the first thing you have to do, of course, is sign up. All right. And don't worry, you don't have to pay anything. Zoom is actually free. In case you didn't know that, Zoom does offer a free option. And I'll show you that in a sec, but let's just quickly continue here, just very quickly going down the website, just so you have a quick glance over. And I won't go over all of this in detail. Of course, you can read that yourself, but just very quickly, just to show you why Zoom is such a great product and service. Is, like I said before, very easy to use, and you can escalate as you need, as your need increases. It's something that Zoom allows you to do, which is really good. All right, and let's just continue to scroll. See, like I said before, they are widely used worldwide by some of the biggest companies in the world, like you can see here. And at the bottom, of course, is the menu where you can see more things about their website, about product features, why Zoom, the Zoom team, press information, downloads, etc. Right? So they offer a bunch of different things. And again, I won't go into all of this in detail, but I will go to the plans and pricing just to show you the different options that you have. Okay, so here, like I said before, there is a basic version which you can use, which is completely free, and you can host up to 100 people in your Zoom video conferencing or in your Zoom video conference or online meeting. And it does have a constraint on group meetings. So if you're doing group meetings, they are constrained to 40 minutes. That means that basically after the 40 minutes, the call will automatically disconnect. So you can't do, an hour or 2 hours long meetings on the free version of Zoom. But just keep in mind that there's nothing, of course, stopping you from starting another Zoom meeting right after the 40 minutes go by and it automatically disconnects. So you can actually just let it end if it ends and you need to do a longer meeting, and then just plan for another one. I do realize that is a bit annoying, but that's just how they are trying to push you into, of course, buying one of these other options that you see here. And I'm seeing here the pricing automatically reflected in Australian dollars because I'm in Australia. So that will change, of course, depending on the country that you're in. So if you're in the US, well, this would be in US dollars, of course. And you can see that just by going to the website, like I said before, zoom.us/pricing, or just go zoom.us and then just click on the plans and pricing and it'll take you here. And you can see here a bunch of different features and functionality that each plan offers. Obviously, the more you pay, the more you get. And these little plus buttons here, you can actually expand them and it'll show you more information about the different features that you're getting with that plan. But like I said before, if I actually expand all of these, look at this. You get a ton of stuff with the free version. Like literally, there's a ton of stuff you get with the free version. So probably the free version would be more than enough for most people. If you're working in a business or if you're part of a business, more likely than not, the business will pay for the Zoom licensing and you don't even have to worry about this part that I'm showing you right now in the course. But it's still good to know, for you to know, that if you wanted to use it in your personal time, or if you wanted to have a Zoom catch up with your family or your friends, which you can do, by the way, because Zoom is not just specifically designed for business. It's just that it's very easy to use by businesses, and that's why businesses love it, because it integrates very easily with the other things that they normally do. And like I said before, because it's just very user friendly. And so here, like I said, you can see the different pricing and the different licensing types that they offer. But like I said before, if you're in a business that is already working with Zoom, more likely than not, you don't even have to worry about this. There'll probably be a system or an IT admin managing all of this, or a procurement person managing all of this for the business. And they'll just tell you, just use your username and or your email address, your business email address, and your business password to signing into Zoom, and they might provide you a different URL than this, and that's something that you might need to check with the business if they're using a specific different URL for you to sign in if you are at a business that is using Zoom. But if you're not at a business that is using Zoom, and I guess under the scenario that you're just setting up your Zoom for the first time yourself, and that you're actually, managing the whole thing yourself, as in you're either getting the free version or paying for one of the plans that they offer, well, this is how you would get started, right? You would go to the website and then you would just click on sign up, it's free, or you just go to the plans and pricing and click on this sign up, it's free again. Whichever of these two you click on, either this one at the top right hand side corner or this one when you go to the plans and pricing page within the Zoom website, it'll be the same thing, right? So if you click sign up, it's free, it'll take you to a sign up page where you can actually just enter your email address so you can start and sign up. And even though this says your work email address, it doesn't mean that you can sign up with, a Gmail account or a Hotmail account or whatever, a personal email account. You can. You don't necessarily have to use a business email address to sign up to Zoom. So don't worry about that. Of course, alternatively, you can actually sign up to Zoom by using Google or Facebook. So either of these options, you can just sign up with your email address or with Google or with Facebook. Any of these will allow you to access Zoom, and I'll let you do this right now. Just do that, as part of this course. Just sign up and let's just, walk through the whole process with me as well. We just click on the sign up button, enter your email address, sign up, and you'll get a confirmation email, accept it, and then that's how you get started. Once you do that process, I'll show you in the next part of the course what's next and how you set up your Zoom meetings, how you schedule them, how you see which meetings you've scheduled, how to do recurring meetings, and how to attend Zoom meetings as well. Now, keep in mind, like I said before, that Zoom is something you can actually download to your Android phone or to your iPhone or iPad. As you can see here, in this part where it says download in the Zoom website at the bottom of the Zoom website, meetings client, which you can download to your Windows or Mac device, or there's a browser extension as well, an Outlook plugin, Link plugin, the iPhone and iPad app, and the Android app as well. So basically Zoom gives you all the options that you can think of. It doesn't matter if you're on a laptop, desktop, tablet, smartphone, Android phone, iPhone, whatever it is that you're using, you can actually download the app directly into any of those devices. But again, don't worry too much about that, because if let's say you didn't actually want to download anything at all, you could actually use the cloud version as well from the browser directly, which is why you also have this browser extension here as well. So yeah, don't worry too much about that. Like whichever option you want to go for is fine. They're all pretty much the same. They all offer pretty much the same functionality. And Zoom has been designed so that anyone can connect regardless of which device they're using, regardless whether they're a Windows user or an Apple user, so that literally anyone can use it. And that's one of the reasons why it's so popular. All right, guys, so I'll leave you here with this part and we'll carry on with the next part of the course. Talk to you soon. Cheers. Bye. Hey, guys. So just to recap on the sign up process and getting started with Zoom, it's very easy. You go to the Zoom website, you then just click on the sign up, it's free button, and then you just enter your email address. Even though it says here your work email address, you don't have to actually enter a work email address if you don't want to. You can actually use a Gmail account, a Hotmail account, a Yahoo account, whatever type of email address you have, you can actually use to sign up for Zoom. Now, remember and keep in mind that if you're working for a company, more likely than not, they have probably purchased the Zoom licensing and an enterprise version of Zoom, which probably means you just don't even need to sign up, but they probably already set up a signing website or URL for you to use Zoom at your company. So if that's the case, if you've been asked to use Zoom as part of the company you're currently working in, well, just make sure you check with your colleagues or your Zoom admin or whoever is your IT support center or help desk, which URL they want you to use to sign into Zoom. And you probably don't have to sign up like we're doing in this video, because this is more for someone that is setting up Zoom from scratch. as if you were going to use it for personal use or for business use, but you were setting it up yourself. All right. And that's what we're going to cover in this part of the course. So like I said before, just enter your email address. In this case, my email address, askmauriciorubio.com. And then I just click on sign up. That's it. Very easy, super fast, super simple. Once you click on sign up, you'll get this confirmation page, which basically says that Zoom has sent an email address to your email so you can confirm your account. Now, this part is pretty standard. You've seen it before. You're used to this. Whenever you actually sign up to any website, product, or service in the modern world, it is very likely that you'll get a confirmation email just because they would want to make sure that it's actually a person signing up to this and it's not a bot. You know, it's not like an automated computer trying to mimic a registration. Okay, so just go to your email address then to confirm your account. So in my case, I would just go to email.mauriciorubio.com, which is where my email is hosted. I would just enter my email address and password, and then I would just sign in. All right. And then I can see here in my email address, the Zoom email, please activate your Zoom account. So I'm just going to click there and I'm just going to allow these images to display. Okay, here we go. And I have this email address from Zoom here that I can actually just click on the button, activate account. So you just click on activate account. And then that takes you to this screen where you basically just continue your registration process, right? So welcome to Zoom. They ask you for your first name, your last name, and then you can set up a password, right? So then you enter your password, whatever password you want to use. Of course, they give you some hints about the type of password here. It must have at least 8 characters, at least 1 letter, at least 1 number, include both uppercase and lowercase. So this is just making your password, making sure that your password is safe and secure. So once you've done that, you just click on continue. And we'll go here to the next page. And we're going through these steps 1, 2, and 3 here at the top. So the second step after you've entered your account info is inviting someone. You don't have to do this right now, by the way, but if you wanted to invite someone to your Zoom so they can connect with you, you could do it here. But I would recommend just skipping this step for now, and we'll talk about inviting other people later in the course. So let's just go skip this step. Test meeting. Okay, so Zoom automatically sets up a personal meeting URL, which you can use with anyone that you are going to connect via Zoom. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about how you can use this meeting URL later. But basically you can use it to start a Zoom meeting with anyone in any point in time, or alternatively, you can just in this screen here, just click on start meeting now. But just remember that this is part of the registration process. So you won't be seeing this screen that you're seeing right now after you've actually completed the process and when you normally and typically sign into your account. But don't worry about that. We'll take it step by step, and I'll show you later in the course how to set up a meeting in Zoom, how to schedule it in advance, how to generate recurring meetings, etc. Don't worry too much about that right now. But here I just wanted you to go through the whole registration process with me so that you got comfortable with doing it yourself at home, at the office, or wherever it is that you're following this course as you're preparing to launch your Zoom meetings yourself. Okay? Keep in mind that you can also download the Microsoft Outlook plugin here, or the Chrome extension here on this page that we're seeing from the Zoom website. Definitely recommend that you do that. They're definitely helpful, but you don't have to do that right now either. You can actually go to the Zoom website at any point in time, which is zoom.us. Remember, zoom.us. And at the bottom of the website, you're going to find here this download, menu. And then here in the sub menu, you can find different plugins, extensions, or apps that you can download depending on the device that you're using. For example, an iPhone or an Android phone. Again, don't worry too much about that. Basically, it doesn't matter which device you're using, whether it's a laptop, desktop, tablet, iPhone, Android phone, or whatever it is, you'll be able to download an app for Zoom on that device. But again, you can also just access the cloud version directly from the browser like we're doing right now. So don't worry too much about that again. So just here, just go to my account. and that'll take you to your Zoom account. And this is basically what you're going to be seeing when you actually sign into Zoom from the Zoom website. And we'll go through all of this in a moment, but I just wanted to show you real quickly what you see when you sign in. Now, at the moment, they put up a notice here that because of the increased demand, there are actually some of the dialing by phone audio conference capabilities may be temporarily removed. So you can actually close this. This is probably something that you don't have to worry about or won't apply in most cases for you. This might be a temporary peak in demand of Zoom. So you can just close that at the moment. And obviously you wouldn't even see that if you were on a paid version, but because we're in a free version, they're putting up these notices because they might be having an increase in demand at the moment. And obviously they're going to prioritize paying customers over free customers. But don't worry too much about that. That's just for the dialing number. People with a smartphone, an internet connection, and a laptop or a computer can easily dial in anyway. But we'll get that, we'll get that to that later in the course, and you're gonna see that you'll have different options and ways to connect to a Zoom video conference or a conference call. And just keep in mind that even though Zoom sets up video conferencing and has capabilities for video conferencing, that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to do a video conference. You could actually do just audio only if you wanted to. And you can actually turn on and off your camera. And I'll show you that when we get to that part later in the course. But this is how you just basically sign into Zoom after you've actually set it up. All right. So if you wanted to sign out from your Zoom page, and here they put a bit of a notice here, your plan has a 40-minute time limit, and that's again because we're on a free version. You can upgrade if you wanted to, but I'm just going to stay on the free version for this course. So just click here on the X. All right. And again, if I clicked here on this, which is meant to be like my avatar, if I clicked here on the top right hand side corner and I sign out, it'll just basically take me out of Zoom. All right. And again, if you just wanted to sign in and go back to that page that we were seeing a moment ago, you just go to the Zoom website and then just click on sign in. And then you just enter your credentials and then you'll be able to sign in. And this is important, signing in, because the signing page, and after you actually go into the Zoom website and you actually sign in, that's where you're going to be doing your, scheduling your meetings, your setup. That's where you're going to manage your Zoom account, etc. All right. So after you've signed in, you just click, enter your email address and your password, and then you just click on sign in. I do recommend that you leave this box ticked that says stay signed in, but you don't have to, of course, if you don't want to. But it's just something that will make it easier so you don't have to sign in if you're browsing on other websites, etc. But just then go to sign in, and it'll take you here now to the page we were seeing before, which, like I said, is pretty much where you manage everything in Zoom for setting up your meetings, etc. All right. So I'll leave it there for this part of the course around registration and just getting started with Zoom. And we'll get in a moment to scheduling your Zoom meetings or joining Zoom meetings. All right, guys, see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye. Hey, guys. So in this part of the course, we're going to go over how to schedule a Zoom meeting. All right. So here's where the fun starts. And this is one of the things that you're going to be doing often when you're using Zoom. You're often going to be scheduling meetings into the future, as you would do if you were having a business meeting or personal meeting or whatever. Generally, when you're scheduling and setting up meetings, you do that in advance, right? You send a calendar invite via Outlook or Google Calendar or whatever to the people or to the person who you're meeting in advance, so they know where to find you. So you might say, I'll meet you on room 2050 or whatever it is, or I'll see you on this location, on this cafe or whatever. In Zoom, it's pretty much very similar, and you would probably follow the same process, with the exception that instead of saying to them, I'll see you in this cafe or I'll see you in room 2050, you just provide them with Zoom meeting contact details or Zoom details, which allow them to connect to a Zoom video conference call. All right. So the process is very easy. Once you start and you sign into your account, you just click on this schedule a meeting button at the top right hand side corner. Schedule a meeting. So just click on that. It'll take us to the schedule a meeting page. And here we can just say, what is the topic of this meeting, right? So let's just call this the convention right? So we're doing a meeting to discuss an upcoming convention. Again, this is just an example that I'm showing you. It, of course, has to have a name when you're setting up a meeting. The description is optional, so it's up to you if you want to add more details. You don't have to. Generally, I leave that empty because it's optional. And then here you set up the time, right? And okay, the date. So you can see here, whenever, let's say this is going to be something that's going to take place on the 10th of April of 2020. And it's going to be a meeting at 10 a.m. Okay. And here it gives you the option. Again, like I said, when this is occurring is when the Zoom meeting is going to take place. So pretty much very similar concept to when you're scheduling just a typical meeting in your Outlook calendar or in your Google Calendar. You set up a date, a time, a duration. The duration here, you can change the hours and the minutes for as long as you want. And your Zoom basic plan has a 40-minute time limit on meetings with 3 or more participants. So if you have more than 3 people on the call, you're going to have a 40-minute limit. Let's say, and let's assume that this is just a call with one person, so I don't have to worry about that 40 minutes. And of course, you can upgrade at any point in time to enjoy unlimited meetings. You can not show this message. If you click here, it'll just disappear. Again, this is Zoom trying to sell you the pro plans and the more advanced versions that they offer. But you can dismiss this message if you don't want to see it anymore. I'm just going to leave it there because I like the reminder that I'm on the free version and that it does have some constraints. Again, if you are on a meeting with someone via Zoom on the free plan and it's just a one-on-one, you don't have this 40-minute time limit. It's only when you're meeting with 3 or more participants that you're going to get that 40-minute time limit on the free version. Again, we're talking about the free version. If you're on the paid version, you're not going to get these constraints, so don't worry about that. Okay, so this is us setting up a meeting in Zoom. It's a recurring meeting. It's optional, of course. You might be just doing a one-off. If I was saying that this convention is a recurring meeting that happens every Wednesday, then I would just click on recurring meeting here. And I would just say it's a weekly thing. So it gives you the option daily, weekly, monthly, no fixed time. Let's assume, so similar to, what you see on Outlook when you're doing recurring meetings on Outlook or on Google Calendar, pretty much same functionality, but we're doing this here in Zoom to set up our Zoom meeting. Let's say in this scenario that you're doing a weekly and it happens every week and it happens on Tuesdays, right? So you might say that it happens every week on Tuesday and it gives you the option to have an end date or end after X amount of occurrences. So if you've used Outlook Calendar functionality or Google Calendar functionality, you're already familiar with this as you're setting up meetings, pretty much the same. So very easy. Let's say it's not a recurring meeting, but a one-off. So I'm just going to untick this. This again was just an example. And it shows you here the time zone as well. So automatically it's defaulting to my time zone. And of course, that's because I'm setting up the meeting. But I can let's just go here and remove the recurring meeting because it's not a recurring meeting. Okay. And meeting ID, generate automatically or use your personal meeting ID. I'm just going to leave it. You can just leave it to generate automatically. It's just a meeting ID. It's just a code that, Zoom gives to the specific virtual meeting that you're creating. So don't worry too much about that, whatever you want. I normally just leave it in generate automatically. And meeting password. So you actually can set up a password for people that are connecting to the video call, to the audio call. You don't have to. Like normally I just remove this to make it easier for people. So just remove this if you want to. You don't have to. Video, host, participant, off. So I'm just going to leave that by default off, meaning that when people sign into or join the meeting, that by default the video will be off, the camera on the Zoom video conference call, but they can still turn it on if they want to, if they wish to do so once the meeting has started. It's very easy and we'll see that later in the course. So up to you whether you want to leave this on or off. Personally, I normally leave it off and then just let people turn their camera on or their video on if they wish to do so. And depending on the type of meeting that you're setting up in Zoom, if you're just doing telephone, computer audio, or both, it gives you the option. Okay, so you can, select. I recommend that you leave here the both, so people can either use their phone or their computer for audio when they're joining the video conference call. Dial in from, and you can click on edit and just add the country. In this case right now, you might see some constraints because of what, all that high demand that Zoom is experiencing at the moment. But normally here, it just basically allows people to dial in from different locations, just using like a local number, depending on the country that they're in. And then meeting options. Here is something that you can actually, control a bit in terms of how you're setting up the meeting. Enable join before host basically allows anyone to just, when they're dialing in or when they're clicking in to join the Zoom meeting, even if the host of the meeting hasn't arrived, they can start connecting. So I definitely recommend that you tick this and that you also tick mute participants upon entry. And that is just like, a best practice to allow so that there's not a lot of background noise interrupting the meeting as people are connecting. So by ticking these options basically means when people join, they can join even if you as the host haven't actually arrived yet to the Zoom video conference call or the Zoom meeting. And you can mute participants upon entry. So that automatically mutes them, which doesn't mean that they can unmute themselves later. They can, and we'll show that, and we'll see that when we're actually going through a call here in this course using Zoom. But by default, I do recommend that you take these two options at the beginning when you're at the top, when you're setting up your Zoom meeting. So you, like I said, control a little bit and allow people to actually start connecting even if you're not there. And so if they connect, they are muted automatically initially, which later on they can unmute themselves. Again, you don't have to tick this if you don't want to. I recommend it because that's how I normally use it and that's my personal preference, but it is up to you how you want to use it. And here, of course, it also gives you the option to record the meeting automatically on the local computer. Now, you don't have to, again, use this. And if you do, just be mindful and respectful and just let people know that you're going to be recording the meeting so they're aware of that. But again, I'm not going to use that because I literally pretty much never use that functionality of recording the meeting. But if you feel you need to, if you feel you must, well, record it, but let's just be cautious and let people know that you're recording them so they're aware of that. And then just click on save. And then we are going to have here our meeting. All right, so you save that and you've set up your managed convention meeting. So convention is the name of the meeting that we've set up. It's just an example. And you see here, add to Google Calendar, add to Outlook. So if you just click on that, it'll just automatically generate the Outlook invite for you that you can send to people if you wanted to. And it just shows you how you set up the meeting here, what's been ticked, hasn't been ticked on. And you can, of course, after you set up a meeting in Zoom, you could actually delete it if you wanted to. You can edit the meeting, or you could actually start the meeting at any point in time. So if you click on start, it'll automatically start Zoom for you, and you'll basically start a video conference call right there on the spot. So you don't even have to wait until the scheduled time if you didn't want to, but normally you would once you've set it up. Here is the thing that you're gonna love after you've actually set up a meeting in Zoom. And that is that even if you didn't use this add to calendar functionality, which you can, and it'll just automatically generate that for you, you could actually copy the invitation. So Zoom automatically generates like a template that you can send to people in a calendar invite. As you can just copy the invitation, right? So it says here, Mauricio is inviting you to a scheduled Zoom meeting, topic, join Zoom meeting, and here's the link. Copy the invitation. And then I'll show you here what I mean. So if you clicked on I'm just gonna paste it here just as an example. So if I paste this here, I'm pasting it right now on Word, but again, you could just paste this on a calendar invite, and then people would just sign in using this URL to the Zoom meeting. Now, if you're on the paid version, this gives you a lot more information and other ways to join the Zoom meeting. But because we're on the free version, it does have kind of like just this option. Basically, it's just giving people the option, and the dial-in numbers are not appearing because they're probably experiencing high demand right now in Zoom. So they disabled that, like we saw in that notification that they had there before. But normally they do actually have dial-in numbers. It's just that because right now there's a very huge demand for Zoom worldwide. That's why they've disabled it on the free version, because they're obviously giving priority on the dial-in numbers to paid customers or paying customers. But again, if you're working for a business, you'll likely get that. And don't worry, I'll show you what this looks like on a paid version, a paid account, so you can see the difference. But for now, it doesn't really matter. Like, people can just still connect by using this link to your Zoom meeting. And that's it, guys. That's pretty much all you need to know about, I'm just going to click here, cancel, about setting up a meeting in Zoom. And don't forget that once you've set up a meeting, if you wanted to look at the meetings that you've set up, you just go here to your profile meetings and it'll show you all the meetings that you have set up. For now, I've only set up this one meeting, the convention one that we were seeing. So I can start that meeting at any point in time, or I can just click on it and then it'll take me to the details that we were seeing before, where I can edit, delete it, start the meeting right now if I wanted to. Or I can actually just copy the invitation and then just email it to people via email or a calendar invite via Outlook. Or I could also alternatively just download this to my Google Calendar or my Outlook calendar, and it'll just pretty much set up a calendar invite automatically for me, which then I can just add the people that I want to join into that meeting. All right, guys, so that's pretty much how you schedule a meeting in Zoom. That's all there's to it, and that's all you need to know about scheduling meetings in Zoom. See you on the next one. Cheers. Bye. Hey guys, so like we talked about before, when you're hosting a Zoom meeting or you're scheduling a Zoom meeting, the first thing you do is create that meeting or schedule that meeting by going to the schedule button in your account. Once you've done that, Zoom will generate a link which you can then send to people in a regular calendar invite so they can connect to your video conference call. All right. And we're going to do that just as a recap of what we did before and just to show you and remind you of just how easy it is. And we're going to do it very quickly. And then right after that, we're going to go and jump into that real world, real life Zoom conference call. All right. So if we go here to schedule a meeting, and I'm just going to call this catch up. And it's happening today at 11 p.m. Okay, it's gonna be half an hour meeting. Okay, and it's not a recurring meeting. Meeting ID generated automatically. No password. Video, host and participant off. You can of course later, even though you have set this here as off, it doesn't mean that you can't turn it on later. It's just by the default when you just start the call. So I'm just going to leave that like that. Audio, telephone, computer audio. I'm just going to say both. Enable join before host. I recommend this, that you always tick this when you have and you're planning and you're hosting Zoom meetings. That allows other people to start joining the call even if you haven't joined, which is good. So I'm just going to click that. Mute participants upon entry. I also recommend that you always have this one ticked before you actually save your Zoom meeting, and this is just to help with the background noise. And okay, record the meeting automatically on the local computer. Let's just say, yep, we're gonna record the meeting and then just save. All right, here it is. I'm just gonna copy the invite, copy meeting invitation, and now I'm gonna jump to my Google Calendar, and I'm just gonna create this right now as an event. More options. All right, and I'm just gonna call this catch up. Yep, I'm just gonna leave this the time like that. And in the description, I'm gonna add here, just copy and paste. You remember how we on the Zoom, we just copied the invitation. So click on that, copy meeting invitation, and then you just paste it here in the description, paste. Okay, so people can join in. And I also recommend that you just copy the link that people need to use to connect to the video conference call, and you just put it here on the location. All right. And then in terms of guests, I'm going to add here Eduardo. Okay. So this is my brother, and he's the guy we're going to meet soon in this example. And then I just click save, and it'll send him the invite right away for this video conference call. All right, here we go. Save. Would you like to send invitation emails to Google Calendar guests? Dismiss, don't send. Send. Yep, we're sending this calendar invite. Send. All right, that's it. That's how it is. So all Eduardo has to do is when he gets this invite and he accepts it, whenever we're going to start, he just opens the calendar invite as you would normally do when you've been invited to a physical meeting. And then they just click on the link to join the Zoom meeting. That's all they need to do. And then the system will automatically guide them through just hooking in into that phone call, into that video conference call. All right, that's all you need to do, guys. It's super easy, super simple. And it goes the same way for the host. If you are the host and you're joining a meeting, it'll be in your calendar, at whatever day, time you've scheduled it, whether it's in your Outlook or Google Calendar. In this case, we're just looking at my Google Calendar. And to join the meeting, there's two different ways for you as a host to do it. You can either click on the link like everyone else who's been invited to the Zoom meeting, or alternatively, you can go to your Zoom account and you can click on the Start This Meeting button when it's the time for you to actually meet, okay? Just keep in mind that Zoom actually allows you to start a meeting at any point in time. So it doesn't have to be in the specific time that you set up the meeting for, but normally you wouldn't meet with someone at a different time than the time you've actually scheduled. So that doesn't matter, but it's just so you know that you can if you wanted to do that, okay? And just remember that also, so here we're actually inside the catch-up meeting, but if I went to my meetings, it's gonna show me all the different meetings that I have set up. And then for the catch-up meeting, which is the one that we're doing in this example, I can just click on Start and it'll automatically start that meeting, all right? That's it, guys. That's all you need to know just as a host when you're setting up and scheduling and booking those Zoom meetings. And that's all you need to do so that people can actually connect to it. You just send them the calendar invite like you would in your Google Calendar or in Outlook. If you're in a business or in a company, you're using Outlook, and you just add the Zoom meeting details inside the calendar invite. And in the location, you just put the Zoom link so people connect to it. And that's it. Super easy, super simple. And when the time comes for people to meet, they'll just click on that link and it'll open Zoom for them and we'll start the meeting right then. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye. All right, guys. So we're now gonna join our real world, real life example of a Zoom meeting so you guys can get a feel for what it looks like and for what it feels like, okay? So like I said before, when you're gonna connect to your Zoom meeting, you just use the Zoom link that was generated when you created and scheduled that meeting. And you will have that in your calendar invite, the one you sent to your guests. In this case, I have only one guest, which is Eduardo, who's my brother and who has kindly volunteered to help with this example. All right, so let's just join our Zoom meeting by clicking on the link, the Zoom link that is already in your calendar invite. So let's click on that. All right, so you get to this page and you just click on Open Zoom. Okay. And then that will open Zoom and that will basically start our Zoom meeting. If you haven't downloaded Zoom before, the first thing it'll do is it will download your Zoom meeting software, your Zoom meeting app, so you can actually connect to it. All right. It gives you here the option. I'm just going to click here and join with computer audio. Just click on that. Okay. And let's expand that to see if we can see Eduardo. Hey, Eduardo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So I'm just gonna, like you notice by default, I have my video turned off. So Eduardo can't see me right now, but he can actually hear me. So the reason I know he can't see me is because if you look at, this in Zoom at the top, in the middle at the top, you can see my name here, Mauricio Rubio, above Eduardo here, but you can't see me, right? Because I've actually turned off by default my video when I scheduled this Zoom meeting, right? Like I showed you in the example before. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna turn my video so that Eduardo can see me, all right? So just bear with me a second. You just click on this button here at the bottom left-hand side corner. There's a Start Video button. Just click on that. So you click on that and voila, Eduardo can now see me, right? Hey, Eduardo.
Hi.
So for everyone who's watching this right now, Eduardo, he's my brother. He lives in Germany and I live here in Sydney, Australia. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank Eduardo for, being very kind and volunteering to help me with this video.
My pleasure.
All right. So I'm gonna, I was just talking a moment ago with Eduardo. So he hasn't actually used Zoom much. This is only the second time he's used Zoom. So it's a really good example for me to show Eduardo a couple of things that I want to teach you, all of you guys watching this video, my students, about how you can use Zoom and some of the really cool functionality and features that Zoom has. So you're seeing right now that there is a button here indicating that we are actually recording this session. So when I actually scheduled this meeting, and you saw me in a lecture before in the course scheduling this, I actually set it up so I was recording the conference call, the video conference call. But as you can see here, Zoom gives you a pause and a stop button to stop recording if you didn't want to record it. Obviously, I definitely don't generally recommend that you record the meetings where you're meeting with people. If you are going to record a meeting, obviously make sure you let the participants know that you're recording them so they're okay with that and they're comfortable. Just keep, be respectful with people and let them know if you're recording. Okay. Do you see anything in your Zoom, Eduardo, telling you that I'm recording this session?
Yeah, there is this red dot up on the left.
Perfect.
And it's blinking and it says recording.
Perfect. All right. So that's also just something for you to keep in mind. If you haven't told your attendees or your invite the people you've invited to the conference call that you're recording them, they'll actually know that you're recording them because Zoom will tell them that you're recording them. So whenever you're going to record a meeting, like I said, I normally don't record meetings when I'm meeting with people. In this case, it's just because I wanted to show you the functionality in this part of the course and because I wanted Eduardo also to see how it works. But you don't normally record meetings. I generally don't do that with business meetings. But like I said before, if you are going to do that, just be kind and let people know that you're recording them. And like I said, if you forget, well, they'll know because they'll have a button indicating that you're recording them. All right. So I was asking Eduardo not that long ago if he had actually experienced the functionality of change your background. So what you're seeing in Eduardo's background is, his apartment where he lives. And what you're seeing in my background here is the same where I live. So it's a real background, but we can actually change that in Zoom. So Zoom allows you to actually change the background, and I'll show you that in a second, and Eduardo will see this in real life. Okay. So if you go to the video button here where it says stop video, if I click on that, I'm just going to show you for a second. I can stop the video sharing at any point in time when I'm meeting with people in Zoom. All right. So I'm just going to stop that for a second. All right. So Eduardo now can no longer see me. And that's something you might want to do. And like I said before, when you're running meetings, online meetings with people, not always you want to be watching what other people are doing. Sometimes it can be a bit distracting. Sometimes people like it. Sometimes people want to see each other and it's great and that's fine. But it's really up to you. You don't have to record video while you're doing your conference call or put yourself on video if you don't want to. All right. But if you do want to, and I'm going to turn on video again, just click on start video. You can actually also change the background. So let's say you were in a messy room and you didn't want people to see the messy room behind you, or you're in your living room and you didn't want people to see the living room behind you. So you see this little arrow next to the stop video button on the bottom left-hand side corner. If you click on that, there's here an option at the bottom that says choose virtual background. So if you click on that, choose virtual background, it'll give you the option to change the background, okay? And I'm just gonna add here, you see this add image or video button. So I'm just gonna click on that, add image, and I'm gonna select something from my computer. I'm just gonna select this mountain, open. Okay? How about that, guys? Beautiful, eh? So I'm just going to leave that background there and I'm just going to close this now. All right. Are you seeing the background, Eduardo?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you like it?
Yeah, it's great. I didn't know you could do this with Zoom.
Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool.
Quite cool, yeah.
Yeah, so I love this functionality because as you can see, I can, it can look like I'm actually sitting here in the mountains. And it can look like I said, it kind of hides completely what I have in my background. So I could actually be in a messy place and people wouldn't even know, right? So this is one of the really cool functionalities that Zoom has. And people love this, by the way, because it can be fun. It can be fun. So I'm going to change it now. You can change it, of course. You don't have to stick with the same image. So I'm going to change it again just to show you again the process. You click on this little arrow and then at the bottom you see choose virtual background and you can click on choose virtual background. And you can choose from the images that you previously uploaded, but you can also add another image, or you could even add a video in the background, as you can see here. But I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm just going to add another image. And I have this Harley. Let's just put it there, see how it looks. All right. All right. Okay, guys. So yeah, so just different options, different things you can do with this. It's fun to play with that. And again, you can turn that off if you wanted to turn that off at any point in time. So if you go to choose virtual background, if I choose none again, I'm just gonna see again the real actual background in my room, in the room I'm using to record. But I actually kind of liked that mountain background, so I'm just gonna keep that one while I'm meeting with Eduardo. And I'm just gonna close this now. And this is just one of those really basic but really cool functionalities of Zoom. Okay, so I'm just gonna close this. All right. One of the other things that you can do while you're having Zoom meetings is use the chat functionality. All right. So there, here in the middle, in the button at the middle, there's a chat button. Okay. So if you click on that button, and I'm just gonna click on that, it opens a chat functionality, and I can just message here Eduardo, like hi. And then Eduardo will get a notification, and he can reply to that. You want to write something there, Eduardo, please? Hi, perfect. All right. So you're seeing here Eduardo responding to me in real time, and we're just having a chat conversation. And you might be wondering why you would use that. Like, why would you actually need a chat while you're actually talking to people? Well, I can give you a couple of real world examples and scenarios why you might want to use that. For example, while I'm talking to Eduardo, I might actually want to share a link with him, right? So I can paste it there. So that's one of the options I have if I wanted to, like, for example, let me just do that right now. I can go to my browser and let's just go to freelancer.com. It's just a website. And this is just something that I was talking to Eduardo earlier in the day. All right, so I'm just gonna copy the link, copy the link. And then I'm just gonna go back to the chat and I'm just gonna paste it there. All right, okay, so Control V if you're using a Windows device, or you can just right click and then just paste and then just hit enter. All right, so Eduardo can now see the link that I just sent him. All right.
Yeah.
So that's something that you might find useful when you're doing business meetings. You might be talking about business decisions, or you might be talking about different things, and you might want to share articles, or you might want to share a link with people. That's something that's really useful for this functionality of chatting is really useful for that. Now, the other reason why you might want to use the chat functionality, and this happens quite often in business meetings, is in the scenario where you actually have multiple people connected to the Zoom meeting, you can actually send chat messages to individuals privately. So here right now, if you see here in the chat functionality, the to button, it says everyone, right? So it means everyone who's connected to the call is going to get this message. But I could also just say Eduardo, and I could just pick his name. And then you see that it puts a little thing here called privately, right? That would mean that basically only Eduardo would get this message and no one else could see this message. And that's helpful because sometimes you might be in business meetings and there might be business discussions and you might want to ask one of your colleagues something, but you don't want everyone else to see what you're asking them or being in that conversation. So that's a really good example of how you would use the chat functionality. All right. So as you can see, you can also, add things here, but the chat functionality is pretty similar to any other chat. There's nothing magic about it or anything weird, but it's just something else you can use in Zoom. All right. Another thing you can see here in this button menu is there's a manage participants button, which shows me that Eduardo is connected to this. And if I click on that, you just noticed here that it shows me at the top right-hand side corner, the options of Mauricio, Eduardo, and I can mute. You can mute, I could mute him or I can unmute him and stuff like that. All right. So this is just an example of things you can do with Zoom. I could also invite other people by clicking on this invite button. And then I could just, email people the invite so they can connect to the call if we wanted to. Normally you wouldn't do this like right in the middle of a conference call. Like normally you'd actually just set up a regular invite, schedule a Zoom meeting like we saw before in another part of the course. And you just send a calendar invite to people and then everybody connects at the same time. But every now and then you might actually be in a situation where you're in the middle of the meeting and you realize that you might need someone else to connect to the meeting. In that scenario, you can actually just use this invite button here to add more people to the conference call. All right. And another really good thing here is also, and this is widely used as well, is the share screen functionality. Have you used this share screen functionality before, Eduardo?
No, I've never used it before.
Okay, so this is something really cool because I can show Eduardo also while I'm teaching you about things that he's learning as well. Because like I said, he actually just started to use Zoom now. So it's really cool because it's actually a real world example of someone learning about this as we're actually going through the course. Okay. So one thing I wanted to show you is that when people say something, like Eduardo just said, yeah, I've never used it before, I can actually express a reaction to that by clicking on this reactions button on the bottom of the Zoom. And I can just say, yeah, thumbs up. And Eduardo sees that little thumbs up image on his screen. Or I could, and I'm also seeing it right here. And I could also say, let's say Eduardo said something really cool. I could also just clap, right? So just clap.
Okay.
Just clap. It's just an expression of an emotion. I kind of would like Zoom to have more of these. Right now they only have the thumbs up and the clap, but I imagine at some point they'll add their hearts and other stuff. All right. So I'm just going to show Eduardo right now the share screen functionality so that you guys can see how you actually use this. And this is super useful when you're actually having video conference calls in the business context, because you might want to share people a specific website, a specific presentation, an article, whatever it is that you want to discuss with them as you're going through the conference call. You can actually just click on the share screen button here, and then it'll give you different options of what you want to share. So I'm going to share here my browser, and I just select on that. So it'll show you everything that you have open. I'm going to select here the browser, and I'm going to click then here on share. All right. So Eduardo right now should be seeing my screen, which is the freelancer.com website. Are you seeing my screen, Eduardo?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
All right. So this is the website that I was talking to you about earlier, right? Which is, a place where people can actually sign up and enroll and find jobs. And you can just, I want to hire someone or I want to work. So if you wanted to become a freelancer or someone that does jobs for someone else online, you just click on I want to work here, and then it'll just take you to the sign up page. And then you can just sign up. Let's just give it a second to load. Okay, now it's loaded. So you can continue with your Facebook account, or you can just use your email, just set up a new, an account using your email and your password. And you just click on join freelancer, and that's it. That's all you need to do to join freelancer.com. It's a free, website, like I was telling you before, Eduardo, where you can actually just create a profile and then you can bid for jobs. So people will post in this website jobs about different things, and then you can actually just bid on the different jobs. And people here post things like translations, video editing, voiceovers, like pretty much anything you can think of. There's millions and millions of people posting jobs here and paying people to do some work. And this is just, an example of things that you can actually do. So Eduardo right now is seeing, for example, the website right now what I have on my screen. So this is very useful, like I was saying before, because you might be in a business meeting and you might be showing people, something while you're talking to them. And it might be a website, like I said here in this scenario, but it could also be an image, or it could also be a design, or it could also be, just a PowerPoint presentation that you might be discussing with people as you're going through your video conference call. So this functionality is pretty easy to use. You want to give a try to the emotion button, Eduardo, to thumbs up. All right, clap. Beautiful. So see that, guys? So Eduardo just basically just clapped using the emotion button. How about turning off your camera? Can you turn it off?
Yeah, 1 second.
So stop camera.
Here.
Stop video. Perfect. All right. So now we can see that Eduardo has stopped sharing his video, and now he's turned it back on. Perfect. Beautiful. Easy. Can you just mute yourself? Do you know how to mute yourself, Eduardo?
It's the bottom right next to stop video, right? Mute here. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So now Eduardo has muted himself, and as you can see, it appears here with an icon in red. An icon that has a red line, just basically saying that he can't, like he's on mute, right? So can you unmute yourself, please?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Perfect. That's it. So it's very easy, guys, right? Very easy. Like if I was going to mute myself, I would just click on this button, mute. And now, even though I'm talking, like Eduardo can't actually hear me, but I'm going to unmute myself again. Okay, that's it. It's very, very easy. All right, and as you can see here, this Zoom also gives you, I'm gonna stop the share here, stop sharing. So if you started to share something, obviously you can change that. So let's say I wanted to share something else, you just click on the new share and it'll give you the options of what you want to share again. But I could also just close this and just stop sharing. So I'm just gonna stop sharing for now. Okay, so it just brings us back to this video view. So Eduardo now, he's not seeing my screen. He's not seeing what I have on my computer because I've stopped the sharing.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much it, guys. Like these are the key things that you guys need to know when you're doing and running video conference calls in Zoom. If you click on this arrow just next to the mute button, just to show you here, it allows you to select a microphone. Like if, for example, I guess the scenario where you would use this is if you, for example, had connected a headset, some headphones with Bluetooth, you would see the option to connect to your headphones here, and you could just switch the microphone to the headphones and the speaker to the headphones as well from this option right here. But because Eduardo and I, neither of us are using headphones right now, we're just using the microphone and the speakers from the computer. That's why leaving it like that is fine. But I'm just showing you this because some of you guys might actually be wearing headphones, and you might actually want to change this to your, the mic and the audio to your headphones. And this is where you would do it. It's very easy. And with this other arrow, like we saw before, is where we did change the virtual background. So this is the image that you're seeing here. We can stop the recording from here, like we saw before. The chat functionality is here, the emotions here. And the other thing is when you're ending a meeting, you can just click, there's a little red button. There's a little thing at the top, button, right-hand side corner that says end meeting. And you just click on that, and then that'll basically end the meeting. Okay. And I definitely recommend that you're careful with that. Like, in the sense that, sometimes people they might keep talking with other people that are still in the call and then forget that there are other people listening. It would be very evident for you that other people are listening because you can actually see them and you can see their names here. But just as a safety thing, I always recommend to people, once you finish your call, if you have multiple people in that conference call and you want to just have a new stay on the call with a few of them, generally what I would recommend is just stop that meeting and start a new one just to be safe. That no other person is listening in, even though you would see it, but just in case you forgot, that's what you would do. But obviously you don't have to do that. You could actually stay and just, people could just disconnect. So I think that's pretty much it for now. Eduardo, thank you so much for your help with this video.
Thank you very much.
All right. So I'm going to end this meeting now and we'll talk again soon. See you.
Bye. See you.
Bye. All right, so then you click here on end meeting for all or leave meeting if you're just leaving yourself, and I'm gonna end for all, so Eduardo is also disconnected. But again, you could just leave yourself and leave everyone else in the meeting connected, but I'm just gonna click on end meeting for all so that it actually closes the Zoom meeting. End meeting for all. See you, Eduardo, bye.
Bye.
That's it, guys. And then now, because I'm still converting I actually was recording this meeting, it's actually just converting the meeting recording, and I'm just gonna I'm not just gonna wait to show you this part here, but it'll take a little bit to convert that, but basically after that finishes, you'll be able to save that video recording directly on your computer of that Zoom meeting. And again, this is just in the example here where I've actually recorded this Zoom meeting. Like Zoom by default doesn't record your Zoom meetings. It's just something that you tick when you're actually scheduling your Zoom meeting from the Zoom account like we saw before. And because I set that and I ticked that box to record the Zoom meeting when I was scheduling that call, that's why you can see it. But most of the times, like 99% of the times, I actually never record meetings when I'm meeting with people. That was just to show you an example. All right, and I'm not gonna wait until this conversion finishes, but like I said before, it'll just finish and then you'll get an option to save that recording on your computer. All right, guys, so I hope you find this really helpful and I hope you enjoyed this video and this lecture where we actually went through a real world example of a real video conference call with Eduardo. And like I said, he's my brother and he was very kind to volunteer and to help me out with this video. And that's it, guys. That's all you need to know about hosting and attending meetings in Zoom. It is really that easy. There's no rocket science to it. You just get a link, you click on the link, you connect to the video conference call, and you just have the video conference call like you saw me and Eduardo a moment ago. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.